Good evening, short storytellers. I'm going to kind of wrap up the very simplistic approach to finding short story problems from all the things around you tonight by looking at one Edward De Bono technique, which just in case you're thinking, I'm some kind of strange person who can just be creative. Creativity is it can be a mechanical process. Everything can be a mechanical process. Even you think that people like Picasso, and this is the beauty of accepting the limitations of frameworks. Once you do that, then that actually frees you up to do a heck of it, because a lot of decisions are made for you. It's a problem, particularly with writers. I'm a creative person. Rules don't or can't apply to me, and that actually is limiting yourself. It really, really is. Once you, for example, as a songwriter, once you say, I'm going to write like classic song structure, verse, chorus, and then a bridge, and then chorus, a lot of your decisions have been made for you, and they free you to make a lot of other decisions. When you aren't doing that, then you've got to actually decide what you're going to do with this tune, how you're going, if you're not going to follow any kind of structure at all. So getting back to the point, the whole Edward De Bono thing is a useful tool, a very useful tool for creativity, for finding where your story should go next. So yesterday, if you remember, I was saying that anything in your house, anything in your life, you can turn it into a problem. And I pointed out that you're surrounded by so many things. Your headphones can be a problem for people who can hear the noise bleed. Perhaps they've got very sensitive hearing. You think you're solving a problem of privacy, but maybe you're not. Maybe which in the old style headphones and in very cheap headphones still exists, could lead to the problem of somebody getting, it's just the last straw for them and they thump you. So the Edward De Bono technique that I was talking about, there are two. I strongly encourage you to go and read Lateral Thinking by Edward De Bono and anything else that he's done, but brilliant stuff. So you can ask two questions. The first of all is, what if it were not? So, or what if it did not? So, what if you were listening to your music, but not using headphones, you were using something else? So then you start thinking, well, if they're not headphones, what could it be? And you do the brainstorm thing. You write down everything, no matter how ridiculous. In fact, it helps to be ridiculous. What if you were listening to music using a giraffe? What if you were using a carpet? And this will then lead you to other ideas. And I'll give you an example of a very offbeat idea in a moment that was arrived at using these techniques. So what if it did not? So what if headphones did the opposite of what you use them for? They actually amplified music. So you have to put them, but it's got to be in your ear, and then they make the music louder. What would the consequences of that be? And then the other question is, what if they were too something or other? What if they were too big, too small? What if the music was too private? What if you could only listen to things which were not music using headphones? What if they were some sort of secret spy device so that when you think you're listening to music, they do something else. They allow you to hear what's going on next door. They enhance your vision somehow. It presses a nerve. What if they were too efficient? What if they were so efficient that in fact you don't want to take them out? They become too comfortable. They become too convenient. They become too big, too small, too heavy, too light, you just fill in a whole load of adjectives and then answer that question. And I promise you, by the time you've done all this, you're going to have a story. And you can keep that list. You can apply it to other things. So you got too big, too small, to apply it to the other things. What if the pen was too big, too small, too round, too big to fit in your clothes, too much ink, too little ink, the ink was too dark, too faint. Some of the things, well, how can the ink be too dark? Once you start doing this, your creative juices start going. Now, I did promise you an example. So the Australian government, back in the days before mobile phones, there were public phones. Occasionally you still see them, public call boxes, but they were everywhere at one time. And the Australian government wanted to make them free. But they had the problem of particularly teenagers wanting to talk to each other, to their boyfriends and girlfriends, romantic partners, or just their friends, I suppose, for a long time. So they wanted people basically to just go in, make a quick phone call, and then replace the receiver so that there wouldn't be a big queue behind them. So they did this brainstorm, and what they did was they listed all the qualities, as I just said, of a public call box. And the solution that they arrived at, it on the face of it is genius, but it was arrived at via these mechanical means. What they did was they made the handset. They filled it with some metal or other, so it was so heavy that it was impossible to hold it for more than unless you were a weightlifter. Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been able to do it, but most people would, oh God, I'm going to have to end now because my muscles are aching so much. And they did this. They arrived at that solution and they implemented it very, very successfully. So these things work, and a lot of people have used these methods to arrive at all kinds of efficiencies in the workplace and in other areas of life, scientific and industrial and just plain ordinary life. So that's it for today. 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Dear, didn't quite make it to the 8-minute mark, but there you go. De Bono. If you've got to play the video again to I'll just write some stuff in the notes, okay? So they'll be in the comment in the description below. Okay, happy story writing, and see you again tomorrow. And as usual, if you've enjoyed this, please like, etc., etc., etc. Bye bye.